How's it going, everybody? We went diving again, and today we were looking for Shawn the sheep, the curious little sea slug which looks like a stop-motion cartoon character sheep. Now, we didn't explore coral reef today because that's not where Shawn lives. Shawn lives almost exclusively on a seaweed, on an algae called Avrainvillea, which grows on the perimeter and within seagrass meadows. And we saw a lot of interesting other animals on the way. Now, this is a sea cucumber. It's really reminiscent of these gigantic worms from the Dune movie. A lot of these sea cucumbers are very placid, stationary animals which don't do much, but this species is just working its way through the seagrass, and it's very active with its mouth tentacles. I believe it feeds on the overgrowth of the seagrass leaves. The seagrass itself is a rare case of a completely aquatic vascular plant. So this is not an algae, this is a modern plant. And yeah, this sea cucumber is having a blast. Again, I was very happy with my Inon bug-eye converter lens, which is a close focus wide-angle lens, which allowed me to get this footage of this unusual animal. These are actually fairly abundant. They're very squishy. I don't touch stuff typically, but you see if there's any kind of surge, they have very soft bodies which just get flopped around then. They grow up to lengths of almost a meter. So these are not small animals. Always really fascinating to watch. Whom else did we see in the seagrass? We saw a seahorse. Now, seahorse is of course a fish. You can see the modified tail of this seahorse. It's almost like the hand of a primate, and it grabs a leaf of seagrass here. Now it decides to drift off a little bit. These seahorses have these bony plates all over their bodies, which provide great protection against predation, but they also limit how they can swim. And here's Shawn! We found Shawn. So this is not a nudibranch, it's a sarcoglossan. It's a related type of gastropod, and they live on this algae, as I've mentioned. Very interestingly, they feed on this algae, and they're photosynthetically active. Organelles, the chloroplasts, remain active when in the body of the sea slug. So hence often they're called, they are a solar powered slug. They are next to a lot of roommates on this algae. So there's a goby in the center. I believe that's a juvenile Pleurocytia, and there is a very interesting animal here, which I now believe, thanks to help from some great people on marine life ID groups on Facebook, I think this is an amphipod of the genus Erythionus, and so this is a crustacean. Here we are back with the goby. You can see the individual tiny pigment spots on that fish. It's probably feeding on plankton, which is floating by the algae. You see there was quite a lot of current that day, and it's using its pelvic fins to stick to the algae. So I probably filmed this goby and its neighbors for about 10 minutes, and it made no effort to leave the algae. These are also amphipods. These are skeleton shrimps. Very curious little animals. They're very social. Here you see two of them sitting on top of each other, they come and go in Darwin. So sometimes we have real blooms where they seem to be everywhere, and then they seem to also be the food base for a lot of the other, macro muck diving critters like the frogfish. So they actually have pretty powerful claws, relative to their size. If you see at that, and then they jump around. They're great fun to watch if you have a macro camera. All of this could end when a turtle takes a bite. So the seagrass meadows are also the home of turtles, which in the Darwin area have really gotten used to divers. This turtle has a problem. Maybe you notice what the problem of the turtle is. Leave a comment if you find out. It seemed to be happy and fine, but there was something missing. That's the end of our dive, and see you next week.